Hey everyone, welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Great to be here.
Today we're tearing into a topic that, honestly, it impacts pretty much every app, website, digital tool you touch daily.
It really does.
It's all about design, but
Yeah.
probably not in the way you might be thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Our main source today is this really insightful YouTube video by John Pham from SF Compute. He shares some amazing stuff from building, viral web experiences.
Yeah, some really practical, hard-won insights there.
Definitely. See, for a long time, design in tech often meant, the shiny stuff.
Pretty pixels, fancy animations, that kind of thing.
Exactly. But what John Pham argues, and what we want to dig into, is that that's just scratching the surface.
Right.
So our mission today, explore this big idea that even with all this powerful AI coming online, the core rules of good design, they haven't really changed.
Such a key point. Fundamentals remain.
We're going to challenge what design actually means, who really owns it.
Which might surprise some people.
I think so.
Yeah.
And then we'll break down these 4 key pillars that Pham says make digital experiences really work, really connect.
Speed, trust, accessibility, and delight.
So yeah, get ready to maybe shift your perspective a bit. There are some genuinely surprising things in here. Okay, let's dig in.
All right. So one of the first things Pham just throws out there is that design isn't about those pretty pixels or fancy animations. It's deeper.
Way deeper. And crucially, he says it's not just for people with designer in their job title.
No, not at all.
That's a big shift, right?
Yeah.
He's basically saying if you build and ship any part of a product that people use,
You're designing, whether you realize it or not.
yeah, you're part of that design process. It's like this collective thing.
It really broadens the definition. And it's critical now because, trends, especially AI stuff, they change daily.
Constantly.
But these core design principles he talks about, he argues they just don't. They're stable.
Which is super important.
Yeah.
Because it leads to his definition. Design is fundamentally how people experience your product. Full stop.
Think about that. Every single touch point.
Every single one. UIs, sure, but also API error messages.
Documentation.
Emails you send out, tweets, any interaction a user has. It's all part of the designed experience.
And it directly shapes how the user feels.
Totally. Does using your product make them feel, I don't know, slow and maybe a bit scared?
Or does it make them feel fast and powerful, capable?
Right. And in this age of AI, where everyone can kind of build the same features quickly.
Feature parity is becoming table stakes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So design, the experience, that's the human differentiator. That's what sets you apart.
Which brings us neatly to his mental model, these 4 principles.
Yeah, let's break them down. He calls them speed, trust, accessibility, and delight.
4 pillars. Foundational.
Okay, pillar 1, speed. What's the definition here?
It's basically that products should feel so fast that users don't feel slowed down by them at all.
Feel fast. So it's not just raw server response time.
No, it's more than that. It includes perceived time, how fast it seems to the user. Plus, immediate feedback when you click something and getting rid of what he calls jank.
Jank.
Yeah.
Like stuttering or things not flowing smoothly.
Exactly that. That lack of fluidity that just feels bad.
Gotcha. And SF Compute, his company, they have a solid example with their onboarding, right?
Oh, yeah. It's impressive. Their website loads, crazy fast. First paint under 300 milliseconds.
Wow. And humans perceive things slower than 400 milliseconds, generally.
Right. So below that threshold, it essentially feels instantaneous.
Okay, so what's the secret sauce there?
Well, it's a mix. Aggressive server-side rendering.
Gets that initial HTML out fast.
Yep. Extensive caching, obviously. And just being relentless about minimizing bundle size.
Keeping the code small.
And minimizing external assets, too. Plus, they aim for 60 frames per second minimum for all interaction.
Butter smooth.
That's the goal. He even mentions studies linking smaller bundle sizes directly to increased revenue.
Makes sense. Faster site, happier users, more conversions.
Totally. And they actually gamify these performance metrics internally.
Gamify. How so?
Things like LCP, largest contentful paint, basically how fast the main stuff appears.
Okay.
IMP interaction to next paint, which is about responsiveness.
Right-click and react time.
And CLS cumulative layout shift, when stuff jumps around on the page as it loads.
Oh, I hate that.
Everyone hates that. So they track these, make them targets. It builds performance into the culture.
That's smart. Constant improvement baked in. Now, speaking of performance, that San Francisco fog effect on their site,
Ah, yes.
it looks really dense and complex, but it loads instantly. I was wondering, how did they possibly pull that off without slowing everything down?
Okay, this part is actually brilliant. It seems complex, but the execution is incredibly lean.
Lean how?
Get this.
Yeah.
It's all done with a single transparent cloud image. That's only 14 kilobytes.
Wait, one image, 14 kilobytes,
Oh.
for all that moving fog.
Yep. They just duplicate that image multiple times in the code.
Okay.
Then they use simple CSS transforms to offset each layer, change the opacity, vary the animation speed.
Creating depth and motion just by layering and tweaking that one small image.
Exactly. And the density of the fog, they just control that by changing the opacity and maybe adding or removing layers.
That's incredibly clever.
And the kicker, absolutely no third-party JavaScript needed for it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just using built-in browser capabilities?
Browser primitives, which makes it super fast and lightweight.
That is genuinely ingenious.
Yeah.
14K for that effect. It really makes you question how much bloat we accept elsewhere.
Doesn't it? It's a masterclass in constraint.
But okay, speed is one thing. Users also need to feel like safe and confident using your product.
Which leads directly to the second pillar, trust.
Right. Trust. How does FAM define that?
It's about the product clearly showing its state, preventing errors where possible, and giving users the right cues, affordances for how to interact.
Okay.
He sums it up really nicely. Your products never tell a lie. It cares and forgives user mistakes.
I like that. It cares and forgives. So how does SF Compute actually build this trust in practice, say in their onboarding again?
Well, one example is when they have to collect legally required info. Instead of just hitting you with a form,
Yeah.
they tell you up front, hey, this is going to be 3 steps, should take less than a minute.
Setting expectations.
Yeah.
Takes the anxiety down a notch.
Exactly. Manages friction. And they show progress, clearly like, you're halfway through.
Okay, makes sense.
This taps into that endowment effect, you know? Once you've started and see progress, you're more likely to finish.
Right, you feel invested. What about those onboarding calls they mentioned? Calls can feel like sales traps.
They tackle that head on, too. They explicitly say, this is not a sales call. You'll talk to our engineers just to qualify things.
Okay, that's reassuring.
And they even promise that if SF Compute isn't the right fit, they'll listen and might even suggest a competitor.
Wow, really? That builds serious credibility.
Huge trust builder. And they smooth out other friction points too, like scheduling.
Yeah.
Instead of making you hunt through a calendar interface, they pre-select a time slot for you.
Oh, that's nice. Reduces clicks.
You only need to manually pick if that specific time doesn't work, defaulting to the easiest path.
Smart. And time zones, that's always a nightmare.
They address that explicitly. Clear message. All times shown are in your local time zone. Avoids that whole confusing mess.
Simple, but shows attention to detail. Shows they care about the user experience.
Exactly. It all adds up to build that feeling of trust.
Okay, so we have speed and trust. What's the third pillar?
Accessibility.
Yeah.
Making sure products work for everyone.
Right, everyone, including people with different abilities.
Yep. Supporting screen readers, ensuring good color contrast, managing motion sensitivity.
A whole gamut.
The goal, as FAM puts it, is building products where everyone can use them.
Which isn't just, like, the right thing to do ethically.
Although it is.
Of course.
Oh.
But it also makes business sense, right? It maximizes who can actually use your product, your total addressable market.
Precisely. Inclusivity is good business.
So how does SF Compute handle accessibility? We talked about the fog effect.
Yeah, and for that, they respect the system preference for reduced motion.
So if a user has that turned on in their OS.
The fog animation pauses automatically, which is critical for people who can get motion sickness or feel disoriented by looping animations.
That's really thoughtful. What else?
Forms are a big one. They use the autocomplete attribute properly on input fields.
So the browser can help fill things like addresses.
Exactly. Makes filling forms way faster and less error-prone, especially complex ones.
Huge win for usability.
Definitely. And preventing those annoying layout shifts we mentioned, that's crucial for accessibility too. Stops people from accidentally clicking the wrong thing when elements move unexpectedly.
Good point. And long forms.
They break them up. Progressive disclosure instead of one giant intimidating form.
They make it, say, 3 smaller steps.
Right. Reduces cognitive load, makes it feel much less daunting.
Feels achievable.
And underlying all this are just the fundamentals, done right. Every input has a proper label for screen readers.
Semantic HTML.
Using the right HTML tags for the job, yeah. And actually testing with screen readers.
You'd be surprised how often that last one gets skipped.
Sadly, yes. But they seem rigorous about it.
Okay, so building for everyone is key.
Hmm.
But what takes a product from just working well to being memorable? Loved even.
That brings us to the fourth and final principle, delight.
Delight. This one feels a bit more elusive.
It can be. It's about the care, the little rewards, the overall story or feeling the product creates. It's that emotional spark.
The thing that makes you smile, maybe. Or tell a friend about it.
Exactly. It elevates the experience beyond just function.
So how does SF Compute inject delight? Let's go back to onboarding again.
Okay, well, one subtle thing is their use of color psychology.
Oh, how so?
They intentionally use blues and greens in onboarding, which studies suggest can subtly slow down a person's perception of time.
Wait, really? Slow down time perception.
Yeah, it sort of counteracts that urge to just rush through everything, encourages a slightly calmer interaction.
Huh. That's fascinatingly subtle.
And then there's how they end the onboarding. They use the peak end bias.
Peak end. Meaning we mostly remember the most intense part and the very end of an experience.
Precisely. So after you finish entering your info, it doesn't just say done.
What happens?
It reveals this beautiful visual of a San Francisco scene.
Ending on a high note.
Exactly. It makes the lasting memory positive, aesthetically pleasing. It kind of diminishes any feeling of work you might have had filling out the forms.
Clever psychology. Finish strong. What about their actual product, like buying GPUs? Any delight there?
Oh, yeah. This is pretty wild. They have something called a GPU habitat.
GPU habitat?
Yeah.
Like where the GPUs live?
Kind of. They've set up this physical space for their GPUs, supposedly with fresh air, sunlight, running water. It's a bit theatrical.
Okay.
But the kicker is they have a live camera feed of this habitat on the purchase page.
No way. A live feed.
Yeah. So as you're configuring your GPU specs, you can literally see the hardware you might be renting.
That's bizarrely compelling.
I was
Talk
gonna-
about transparency.
Isn't it? It turns a boring transaction into something interactive and, well, unique. Delightful, even.
And I assume they built this habitat view efficiently, too.
Absolutely. Same principles. Built with fast, simple, stacked divs. Small looping videos for some elements. Browser-native animations.
No heavy third-party libraries.
Nope. And again, it respects reduced motion preferences, pausing the video loops if needed. Accessibility still matters for delight.
Consistent principles. What else in the buying flow adds delight?
Smart defaults in the forms, for one, guiding users gently away from making mistakes.
Making it easy to succeed.
And empathy, like letting users input how long they need GPUs in different units, days, hours, weeks.
Well, that's nice. Saves me doing mental math.
Exactly. Small thing, but shows they're thinking about the user's workflow and even loading states.
Yeah. Those are usually boring spinners.
Here, when something has to load, like calculating GPU to Tensor Core, they show cool, relevant technical visuals, makes the wait less painful, maybe even interesting for their target audience.
Turning dead time into something engaging.
And maybe the most striking thing.
Yeah.
They explicitly prioritize user care over just maximizing revenue on the spot.
How do you mean?
Like, Pham mentioned if buying, say, 8 GPUs qualifies for a better price tier they weren't aware of, the system will actively guide them towards that cheaper option.
Even if it means slightly less money for SF Compute right then.
Yeah. The belief is that building that long-term trust and showing genuine care is way more valuable in the long run.
That's a powerful statement. Playing the long game.
It really is. And one last example of delight, not from SF Compute, but highlighted by Pham, was the Versailles nested menu.
Nested menus. The bane of my existence sometimes. So hard to keep the mouse pointer on the right path.
Exactly. They're notoriously finicky. But Versailles uses this prediction cone.
Prediction cone.
As you hover towards a submenu, it creates this invisible triangular area,
Yeah.
the cone between your pointer and the submenu.
Okay.
This means you don't have to move your mouse in a perfectly straight line. You can cut the corner a bit diagonally within that cone, and the menu stays open.
Oh. So it anticipates where you're probably going.
Precisely. It feels almost supernatural. Makes navigating those tricky menus completely smooth and effortless.
Turns a point of frustration into a moment of grace. That is delight.
A perfect example.
Wow. Okay, so we've gone through speed, trust, accessibility, and delight. We've seen these really creative examples. What's the big picture here? What does this all mean for you listening?
Well, I think the core message is that good design isn't just the surface layer you add at the end.
Right. It's not just aesthetics.
No, it's woven into every single interaction, every feeling a user has with your product. It really boils down to, how do you make people feel?
And what's fascinating is how these 4 principles, Pham outlines speed, trust, accessibility, delight. They aren't some new fad.
Not at all. They're timeless, really. Speed gets that first click, that initial engagement.
Trust keeps them coming back, makes them feel secure.
Accessibility makes sure everyone can use it, expanding your reach.
And delight. That's what creates the real fans, the advocates.
Turns users into superfans, exactly.
And these examples, the 14K fog, the live GPU feed, that prediction cone, they just show how creative and effective design can be when you actually focus on these core human principles.
Even with AI tools making feature development faster, these experience principles become more important, not less.
So maybe the question for everyone listening is, when you look at your own work, your product, your service,
Or even just the tools you use every day.
yeah, how could you apply these principles? Like, what's one small thing you could change tomorrow?
Could you make something a tiny bit faster? Build a little more trust somehow?
Improve accessibility in one specific spot, or add just one small moment of delight.
It doesn't have to be a huge overhaul. Small changes add up.
That really feels like the actionable takeaway here.
Yeah.
It's not just about admiring what SF Compute did.
No, it's about what these ideas unlock for you.
It's about that mindset shift, right?
Mhm.
Thinking about every touch point as a design opportunity to genuinely connect with people.
And hopefully make their digital lives just a little bit better.
Well said. We hope this deep dive gave you some fresh perspectives and maybe some practical ideas you can run with.
Yeah, lots to think about there.
Definitely. Until next time, keep digging deeper.